Hello everyone, and thanks for checking back in. I'm here today to answer a question that was posed to me by a Twitter direct message, and it reads as follows. I just started class January 2011. Do I qualify for the education credit? And what's the difference between education deduction and education credit? Now, to answer the first part of the question, which is, do I qualify for an education credit? Although my class did not start until January of 2011, the answer to that question is yes, but only if that class was paid for during the 2010 tax year. The IRS will allow any classes taken during the academic period of January through March of 2011, to be eligible for a tax credit as long as it was paid for prior to December 31st of 2010. Now, to answer the second part of your question, which is what's the difference between an education credit and an education deduction, quite frankly put, a credit reduces your tax liability dollar for dollar. On the other hand, a deduction decreases your taxable income. So let's put some numbers to that. Let's say you have a $2,000 tax liability that you owe for the year. If you're eligible for a $2,000 tax credit, that will reduce that tax liability to zero, meaning you wouldn't owe anything for that year. On the other hand, let's say you're eligible for a $2,000 tax deduction and you have taxable income of $40,000. That $2,000 deduction will simply decrease your taxable income to $38,000, but you will still owe taxes on that $38,000 as a whole. So let's really make sense of it. Let's say you're in a 15% tax bracket. It would take a $10,000 tax deduction to have the same impact on your taxes as a $1,500 tax credit. So it's usually more beneficial to take a tax credit as opposed to a deduction if you're eligible. And typically the only time someone would take a deduction is if they're not eligible for that tax credit for whatever reason. So hopefully you found this information helpful. As you can see, I have my blog up in the background, so I am anticipating your questions. The only thing that I do request is that if you don't mind posting your questions here on the blog, that way if someone else has the same or a similar question that you have, they can simply refer to your post and see my responding video. Do understand that sometimes you want your questions to remain confidential, and I am respectful and mindful of that. But if you don't mind posting them here on the blog, I would really appreciate that. Once again, the blog is www.gats-taxes.blogspot.com. Thanks again, and I look forward to the next question.